Hello guys, what's good? It's Jonathan Godaro. I'm the CEO of Gameboss Studio and welcome to another Unity tutorial on getting started with Unity Game Engine. So in the last tutorial, I taught you on some things, and in this tutorial, we're going to actually make our first script. So this is where we left off in the last tutorial. And before we get started on the coding aspect, I'm going to show you how to save your file. Go to click on this file and click on save scene as, and you can actually name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it main level. You can name it level 1 or whatsoever you want. So as you can see, we have created our first Unity scene and it's now registered here as a main level. So let's get right in. So we're going to actually deactivate this ball game object because we are not going to be using it in this tutorial, but instead we are going to drag in a square sprite which we are going to name fan. We're going to give it a color, let's say red. We are going to rotate it around the z-axis by -45 degrees. So we're going to be adding a script to this game object. We just click create add component, new script, and I'm going to name the script, let's say fan, create and add. So Unity is going to create the script also. Unity is going to create a default script for us, and we're going to open it up and edit it in Mono Develop. So let me just boot it up. Okay, so go to double click on it. Okay, so Mono Develop is opening up. Come on, come on, come on, hurry up. Okay, so when you create a script in Unity, it's going to give you some default line of code that Unity just sets up for you, but we're not going to be using it. We're going to delete from this place to where it says use for initialization. We're not going to be using those line of code, but the code we are going to be writing for this game object is going to be inside this public class that Unity made for us. So it's going to be inside these two curly brackets, not outside it, right? So we are going to create our first variable, which is the fan speed, the speed at which the fan is going to use to rotate. So we are going to make it a public let's say public int called speed. I'm going to default that to, let's say, 10. Now note that why I wrote this as a public, if I wrote it as private, we're not going to be able to see it inside the Unity editor. So let's say after writing the script, we needed to tweak this variable here. Because we wrote it as private, it's not going to show in Unity, so we're actually going to have to come back into the script and start changing the figures, right? So to make things easier, it's better to mark it as a public so that we can easily see it in Unity and just tweak it directly from there. So this int stands for integer, meaning an whole number. So we are not messing with decimal numbers or whatsoever. It's only an whole number. And this speed is the name of the variable we just created, and we have equated it to 10. So we're going to create a function now called void updates, and we're going to give it a bracket and a curly brackets, right? Just write it right after me. If there's anything different, your code may not work. So a void update, this is a Unity function, a function that Unity creates. But I'm not going to go into too much details about update now, maybe in a separate video. But yeah, just write after me. So we're going to write transform dot rotate, right? We're going to create a bracket. We're going to just write after me for the meantime 0 0 and speed times time dot delta time. We're going to end it with a semicolon. Now what this script is actually telling us is the game object that this script is sitting on, we want to tweak, we are actually editing the transform component on the game object, which is, if we go to this fan game object, we are going to see here it says transform. We are actually editing this transform game object, right? This transform component, sorry to say, this transform component dot rotate, which is the rotation, this rotation here in the game object. We are now going to tell it that, hey, we want this, the transform in the game object to rotate along the z-axis, right? So this, we are going to write, even we are going to write the x-axis as 0. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, and this is the z-axis. We don't want the game object to rotate along the x or the y-axis, but instead around the z-axis. You get? And we want the to rotate according to this speed variable that we created. So we just can just pass it on the speed, right? So we zeroed out the x, zeroed out the y, and passed in the variable that we created. We can actually just write 10 in here and it will still work, but it's better to leave it this way. We are going to multiply it by time dot delta time, right? I'm not going to go into full details on that, probably in an SB in another video too. So when we head back to Unity, and yeah, you are going to have to save your script by clicking Ctrl S. Heading back to Unity, Unity is going to load up the code we just wrote, load it up. It's going to show us in here. So as we can see, we made a public variable called speed, and we can see it's showing in Unity. So we can actually tweak the variable to 20 or whatsoever. So I'm just going to leave it as 10, and if we click play, we are going to see that the game object actually rotates. Voila! As you can see, our square game object is rotating. I think we'll just bump up the speed to, let's say, about 100 for us to actually see that rotating well. So we have made our first Unity script for our game objects. Congratulations, guys. So as you can see, this script enables this fan game object to rotate around the z-axis. And if I hit play, you are going to actually see the figures here are going to be changing because it's rotating along that axis. So as you can see, it just keeps rotating and the values keep changing like that. So keep in mind, the codes are very simple. If there's anything you don't understand in line of code, please do leave a comment and I'll see to it. I reply you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel to get updates on future videos. So with that said, I will see you in the next video. Stay blessed.